the same thing.
Yeah. Shall we start?
Yeah. Yes.
2 minutes, I'll ask it.
Yeah. Ask. Okay, you can start. Okay, portal back in by the time. By the time they join.
Okay. Okay. So from this, we have actually covered learning apps, that is Portal UI, and now we'll jump into Portal API service and program service. Firstly, so just to give you an overview. So this is what the architecture we previously saw, right? There is a coKreat Portal UI, then we are using some front-end libraries, those are packaged in NPM package, and then there is an app layer, and there is dependent BB services, which are actually called through API manager. So, okay, sorry, yeah. So this, the documentation actually covers for all the things. You can go through it, it's on microsite also. The portal code structure, whatever we said, that is actually divided in 2 folders. One is app folder and one is client folder. So whatever session we have had in currently, previous session, that was actually client folder, that is Angular app or Angular UI. The app folder is what is called as API service layer. Okay. So what does this app folder does is actually a backend application API where all the services from portal are cached, those are authenticated, and then actually routed to correct services. So as we see, we are using multiple services like content service, knowledge service, learner service, observe, and user org services. So the routing part is done from this API manager or API layer portal API services. So this is what it talks about. This is actually whatever API calls are from portal, it comes to API service, which is actually the app folder. There is routing. Routing happens. The router checks. There is one file where we are actually whitelisting all the APIs. So all the APIs should be whitelisted. The check is happened. The role check is happening. Then sessions. This is actually same as portal only. Add portal only. User session happens.
Sorry, which is that file? Which you are getting this whitelisted?
App that will I'll show you in code. It's app listing app whitelisting dot JS only. Yeah. So
these are same as portal code. Okay, last time the portal sessions we went to walk through of the code, right? The same files,
same
nothing,
only.
no difference here.
But
okay, same
but
files
if
being
you have
reused.
to add any new API or something, that has to be added in that list so that the checks are passed. There are role-based checks also. There are authentic token-based checks also. For those, you need to add it in that list of files, and it will be done. Okay. So there is server.js. Server.js is nothing but the entry point for the Node.js application. It initializes the server, defines the route, and handles the request to correct router file. Then there are router file. It handles the API routes. It's the same as portal backend only, and the code is actually pretty simple. Then there is environment file. So environment file, whatever environment variables that are required to start any portal, any app, any portal that are actually listed down in this environment file. So those can be learner service API URL, content service API URL, and then there are auth tokens, all the folders. Then there is API whitelisting. So actually, if you go from here, so those are linked also. So it's these folders only. So this helper folders is actually having API whitelist.js, which actually does all the work of if the user is allowed to do certain action or to fire or execute the certain API or not, and those are, and whatever authentication tokens he passes, those are actually gets validated in this file. Then there is proxy. Proxy is just to verify tokens, API, that all the code. So proxy is actually whatever request and whatever response, to decorate that, headers and methods are actually written in proxy. If the API request is valid or not with the proper code, and auth is also checked in proxy. Then there are resource bundles. Resource bundles are for the localization or generalization of languages. That folder has en.js or JSON. That is actually JSON files, and you can have the key value pairs there. So that is actually pretty much about app folder. So when we are saying the app or backend application of the portal, this is what we are talking about, the client folder. So whatever is Angular UI, it's actually resides in this folder only. Yeah. So helpers, as we said.
Yeah, these are the same folder structures, okay? Like helpers, like last time, if you see the portal thing, whitelist API, there is a separate file. Every API, what are roles to be checked and everything, this is the same thing what he explained in the last call.
Yeah.
Exactly the same, there's no difference here.
Yeah.
And their folder structure also the same. Okay. So, no need to go to this, okay, it's already covered.
So this is actually whitelist APIs where we are listing all the things. Correct. So that is it actually about app folder.
Only programs route. That's what I just explained. That's a key thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll.
So as part of this, okay, portal backend, because all the whitelist API, auth check, route check, and everything is the same. Okay. Now only thing is, coKreat specific entry is the programs. How this programs API being used, where is this programs API, and how that programs API is going to the program service. That's the only thing key thing what we have to understand. Okay, that's what she will just explain that.
Okay, so for program service, we have endpoint as program v1. So whatever requests are executed from coKreat portal having endpoint as program v1, that our app folder catches that, checks that if this is for program service, and then it routes to program service. So program service is installed as part of coKreat. Whenever coKreat portal is getting installed with job, the same we are having a similar job kind of job from program service, and the same thing is happening for program service. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just directly program service. No, it's actually handled in routes only. So yeah, it's okay. So any questions around this so far? So how content service are handled in API Manager? No? So the same thing is happened for program service.
I mean, as you told, no, that for coKreat we have a program service which contains all the programs. So this whitelisting, this client routes actually identifies that which request needs to go to the program service, and and also like we are consuming other services also. So the differentiation catch between the services is actually done by these routes, and the API whitelist are whitelisting the APIs, and the helpers are the same which we were using in the head to set up the environment.
Okay. So basically, this is what.
No.
No, this is actually.
It's a desktop app.
Okay. So whenever
Because
we.
creation of the content is not happening from the mobile. It's always from the portal. It's very hard for the mobile to create a content, right? Because that's the only consumption app. Mobile app is always a consumption app, not a creation app.
So program service. So whenever we are saying we can create programs, we can create nominations, as in CRUD operations from program, CRUD operations from nominations. We are having our own form data. So that I can cover actually if you want later. We have our reports, report services there, which is actually doing the call to get all the reports we want, and then user preferences. So these are the data tables and REST APIs we are having. Whenever those APIs getting called from our portal, those are actually handled in program service. So these are the REST APIs are part of program service. These are the dependencies. So dependency there are certain APIs, those are actually getting called from program service also. So when I say I'm creating a project, right? So there are certain collections I'm copying. I'm using some collections. So those collections are actually getting copied on our coKreat portal, and that is why, and that is when the content service get in place. So for this kind of thing, we are actually dependent on some other microservices or dependencies.
I have a question. So
Okay.
you said that we are copying the collections.
Yeah.
Are we sure that we are copying the collection or we are creating? Because from what I understand, this can you go up a little? Yeah, the question set or the two different types of collections that we have on coKreat
Okay.
are specific to coKreat. I mean, they are not there in the content service.
Okay.
So, are we actually copying it or?
Okay, so there are actually two type of, okay, we have covered it in our coKreat portal thing only, but there are three type of projects we can create. One is the project for collections, okay. So whenever we are saying project for collections, the collections, whatever we are using to create the project are actually created on Engg portal. We select those collections, those are in draft states, and those actually getting copied on coKreat, so that whatever contents we actually contribute to that collection actually get links to this collection, and there is actually reference link, right? The reference ID we have, origin data we are actually storing it in Cassandra also. So using that reference link, we know what Engg textbook was there. It is linked to our coKreat portal collection, and then it's getting copied to both the portals. Does this answer your question?
Yes, kind of. So, as you are copying the content of the content service,
You also might have to speak, no?
coKreat have your own database and all that.
Yeah, we are having two databases, Progress and Redis.
Redis.
Yeah, Redis is for caching only.
The content service database, Progress Cassandra, that is all, everything is stored there itself. It is not, the collection hierarchy and everything is stored in Cassandra.
Yes,
That is through content service.
that is through content service. We are having our own content service, but all the creation of content, content storage, or all these things are done by content service only. We are not doing it.
Okay, so your content service basically kind of calls the knowledge of content service.
Correct.
And I have a question.
Yeah. Okay, so whenever we are saying we are creating the projects or nominations, or we are storing user preferences, those are actually getting stored in PostgreSQL. Okay, Redis is there, and it is being used just for saving the user preferences, but because a user, a contributor, or a reviewer, sourcing reviewer, when he logs in, he can say, I want to contribute to these projects only, or this type of textbooks only. So he can do it multiple times, and that can be a load on server, or every time we can call an API. So that was not feasible yet. So we used Redis, and then there is a configuration in Redis at what time you want to save it to Postgres. So that actually from cache to actual database is also happening there. And we are using actually Kafka services getting used in question bulks creation. It's not actually triggered from API through UI. It's through API only. Okay, so we'll go to basic flow diagram of program service, how it's called, or yeah. Sorry. So coKreat portal makes an API call. Just to make you understand, program service is only for coKreat. It's not for Engg portal. Okay, coKreat portal makes an API call with program v1 endpoint. It goes to program service. So whenever a program service catches the request, it routes request middleware. It decorates the response. It also generates the telemetry in Logger, and if the API is to create projects on nomination, it does the CRUD operations, or it can pass the same request to another content services to get the data, or to process the thing, and then sends a response to coKreat portal. Yeah, so this is what we covered actually. Yeah, and Postgres is Postgres is primary database store for programs, nomination forms. Redis is used for caching the user preferences.
Excuse me. Sorry. So, like for content service, we have the middleware that you mentioned for coKreat also, we have the knowledge middleware where it is again a node-based code which routes specific APIs to different places.
Correct.
So similarly, does this also have a middleware? What is that service called?
For the content, it is still the same because for the content creation, we are using the knowledge thing. Okay, knowledge middleware exists. All the requests from the coKreat backend, it will go to knowledge middleware. Knowledge middleware, it will go to the knowledge APIs. That flow is same. But for the programs, especially for the programs point of view, there is no middleware. Okay, the request from the front end, it will go to the portal backend. For the portal backend, the request to directly go to the program service.
Portal backend, when you say portal backend, I am assuming that portal backend to be similar to knowledge MW service.
No, no.
It's actually app folder.
No, no. It's a proxy application. Okay, what we call in the So because backend track, there are multiple services. In the front end, always the client specific backend application. Okay, that's what we call as a portal backend. Okay, always the client application talks to portal backend. Portal backend will redirect to the API manager.
How is this portal backend installed?
It's a Node.js application. Node.js application.
Is it in Kubernetes or?
Yes, it's a Kubernetes only. There's a player. The name is player in the Kubernetes. You can see service name.
Okay, so here we have actually listed down the data models we are having in Postgres. So these are nothing but the tables we are having currently. And when you go to code also, you are having a programs.sql file. All the things are listed there also. Yeah, and for Redis, it's pretty much, actually it is used for caching only. So we don't have much for that. Yeah. So till this, are we having any questions so that I can jump on to APIs? Yeah.
Sir, I think there is one option to publish this content to Diksha, right?
Yeah.
So when we are publishing to Diksha, so the data will go from Postgres to Cassandra, or what will happen?
No, so we are not storing content in Postgres, right? We are just storing programs and nominations in Postgres. So for contents we are having Cassandra. So the routes passes from content service only. How Ed portal is doing, right? How Ed portal is creating the content?
See the diagram here, which is the knowledge service exists in the coKreat portal also, correct? Knowledge service is exposed those APIs. All the databases of knowledge like Neo4j, Cassandra, Redis, whatever you see the knowledge still exist here for the content related things. All the contents always going to that databases. Postgres and the program service, nothing there for the content point of view. Okay, when you publish the content from knowledge database, both are knowledge, right? Ed side also there is knowledge database, coKreat side also there is knowledge database. Here also same databases, Neo4j, Cassandra. The content structure is still the same. Same structure, take it. Read a call, make a read call from here, which is Fling job is doing, auto creator job, which is reading all these contents, putting into Ed side. As soon as it puts, it's auto publishing that contents because there it's a draft, right? As soon as you put it, it's a draft still. It's also send it for review and making it publish, okay, as part of the sync job itself. That is taking care of syncing the data from here to Ed side. From knowledge of coKreat, taking into Ed coKreat.
Instance of knowledge,
Yes, you have separate instance of knowledge in the coKreat.
From what I know, I think we are connected to the knowledge instance of
No.
Air only.
No. There is separate instance of knowledge exists in coKreat infra again.
Ideally, it should be, and ideally that's what the.
No, it is.
It is.
It is.
Maybe I might be wrong.
Yeah.
No, it has to be because the contents whatever we create on coKreat are not part of ED, right?
I mean,
so till the time we publish it.
Right.
Yeah. So that is why we need to have our own content service, and Ed portal has its own.
So the reason is the coKreat has the coKreat is having all the details how the content is being sourced. Once you are on the Ed side, you are a consumer or you are an user. You don't worry about how the content of a book is sourced. You are only concerned about the content. Like if you take an example of a 10th class maths book, you only want to consume arithmetic and algebra. Now, how do we got that arithmetic and algebra? This is not.
Ed will be a consumer. So
Ed is the consumer, no?
yeah. So what I mean to say is,
Hmm?
in Ed,
So-
because of instance you are telling, there will be two different instances. That
Yeah.
I agree. Because in one place in Ed we are ultimately after publishing which get reflected, right?
Yeah, the content gets reflected. We publish the content. Now and we need to understand here is what is the data coKreat is handling, and what is the data, Ed is handling. Ed is handling the content. If there is a book, Ed is handling the chapters. Now coKreat is handling the data about for the contributors and nominations. So
which
these.
is still in process.
Sorry.
Which is still in process.
No, not in process. Once you publish, it is on the Ed, no?
Once published, it is in Ed.
Huh.
That I agree. But in coKreat, I am telling.
coKreat, so the nominations, everything is done, no? The book is published.
The content gets added, not the.
Sorry, the content is published. Now, if you want to modify that content in future, you can do it.
Sorry, what's the question? Sorry, my bad.
There are two things. One instance for coKreat.
Yes, yes.
The other is for
Another is for Ed. Yes, that's right.
in Ed, what happens once the content is published from coKreat,
Ed is not publishing the content. Ed is creating a draft content.
in draft, basically,
Draft.
you are
Yeah.
publishing in
TOC, draft.
so that is one instance.
Hmm.
But in coKreat, what happens?
Thus, you are creating a program for that draft one. Draft textbook you are attaching to your program.
So it's in process. Means it is following that process.
Correct. Still in the draft only.
That's what I am telling.
Yeah, that is still in draft. Okay. So,
Okay, क्या आपका query?
okay, I think the question, Samanth, okay, the question you asked, you can see here, this is a creation portal. You can see the schemas, KP schemas. These schemas are specific to creation portal. Ed schemas, if you see, knowledge is having all the schemas in the Ed point of view. Ed infra, knowledge having its own schemas, that's what Ed is being used. For the coKreat, for the knowledge instance schemas, these are schemas what you can see, schema, go to schema folder here, just on the top, yeah. These are schemas for the coKreat point of view. These are the different type of contents what you can create in the coKreat infra. Now these schemas understand by this service only. Ed service doesn't know what is those schemas because there is a duplicate schemas again here. Different schemas it can be. Okay. But textbook schema here should match. The properties, at least the properties whatever is here, the same property should be here. But there can be additional properties specific to coKreat. That can be fine. That's what, go back. You can see a program ID. Is a program ID present in the Ed? Is the program logic is there in the Ed? No, the program is specific to coKreat. That's why in the coKreat portal schema only you can see the program ID. That textbook, what you are mapping here, that textbook is mapped to which program. That is also stored in the knowledge database as one more node, one more property of the node. So that you know for that program how many textbooks are created and everything. Easy to get it from the graph.
Okay, so I had an issue with VDL. What we did was we were trying to create a content and publish it. It was not getting published in coKreat. So
Create a content and publish.
Yeah, so I created a content, it went through the whole life cycle. Now I'm trying to publish it.
Okay.
Okay, but while publishing it was giving me an error, and I think the reason for that was that there was a specific key in this schema, which is, I think it was for textbook only, which is present here. Question set, sorry, yeah, question set, which is present in this file.
This is a file you have to see. That's what I told you, mapping, it should be proper. You have to see, is the schema properties, whatever is the knowledge is expecting it, is the same thing is here or not. If it is a mismatch, then there is a problems.
So
While syncing, it will be creating problems.
The base that we need to take is for of the knowledge.
Knowledge, schema of the,
Copy it here.
copy it here, and add as coKreat specific properties to that. Okay, then the schema is the right thing. While syncing, you will not end up with any problems.
जो आपका knowledge का जो आपको या वो additional field should be part of the coKreat. Okay, only. तो उसमें mismatch वहाँ आ रहा है क्या?
So there was no problem. The schema was the key was added directly in blob file.
Blob file?
So,
No.
yeah, so
Okay. All the schemas is uploaded into blob. Yes, right. Okay.
Directly added there.
That's wrong. Okay, because if you do that way, this repo doesn't have that property. When you restart this service, what are the files here? These things will get updated into blob.
no, when we restart the service, no, I don't think it reads from the repository. When we restart, it reads from the blob file.
No.
When we deploy,
Two things. Knowledge service is reading from the blob. When you redeploy the service of knowledge, this will always read from the blob.
yes.
What happens when you redeploy the coKreat? What are the schemas? Why it is here? All the schemas will go and sit into blob, okay, when you redeploy this, so that knowledge knows what is the schemas should be used. If you only do changes in the blob, those things will get override as soon as you restart the services.
Then we will.
You will end up with a problem. Initially, some contents may be having the property, it worked. Is there some reason DevOps where somebody has restarted? That properties is overridden there. Some contents having that problem, mismatch is there. That's what you end up. Some content works, some content doesn't work.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Can you repeat this? So this schema, from my understanding, what I have understood up until now is when we deploy the coKreat instance, this schema which is in the repository, it is taken up and it is pushed to blob,
Blob.
right? Blob store. Now, when we start the content service, knowledge services,
All the knowledge
all
services.
the knowledge services, then these knowledge services read the schema from the blob store, not from the repository.
Not from the repository.
Not from the repository.
Yes.
If we add the key in the repository, in the blob store,
Is it a good way? Is it a good approach first upon?
no.
Fine. Go ahead.
Let's assume that we added.
We added there.
We
Yes.
added in blob store. Now, when I restart the knowledge service,
Okay.
it is still going to read from the
Okay.
blob store.
Huh.
So the key, if I'm restarting the knowledge, I mean, it doesn't matter what is there in the repository, right? It is still reading from
Blob. Yes.
But when I restart coKreat,
Huh.
all the schema that I've written on the blob store, those will be
Override.
overridden.
Yes.
The upload schemas job.
Job will be triggered. Okay, that will get override.
That will override. So that's the whole scenario.
Yes. So by that time, if you created some contents, those contents having the new property, what you define in the blob. Okay, but new content after that, what you create, those things will not have it. Though your data become mess up. Some content having that new property, some content doesn't have a new property. Then if you're publishing the new content, it will work, but the content which have new property, it will not. Only those content you will end up with the problem sink. It will get stuck in the sink. Okay, it will always see those content will get failed.
I'm sorry, I have one
Yeah.
more question. So when we run the knowledge services from Engg, right, from this side, so the assessment service is called the learner service in Engg. Am I correct in saying this?
Assessment service is called as a
learner. In the Kubernetes pod, when I go and look at it, it's called as learner. But when I look at the coKreat, it's called assessment. Am I right in assuming this or no?
no. Okay. Assessment service is especially from inquiry building block. Assessment is nothing but a question and question set. Question and question set. Okay. That is responsible to create. That service is responsible to create question and question set. That capability is mainly exists in coKreat today. Question and questions capability exists mainly because if you see the main section as part of collection, you can attach a question set also. So any contributor can come and create a question sets. Today, edge side, that question set capability is there, but not leveraged very heavily. Nobody is going to create a question set in the edge side. Okay?
One more thing. In production also,
Huh.
we are not allowed other tenants to create the question set we have not allowed the other tenants to create the question set inside the textbook in production.
Inside a textbook
Yeah,
in
the
production.
major use case came was only for Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, where they create the question set in the coKreat portal and they create the project with the same.
Correct. Because
They are
as a
not
project.
importing it from the Diksha. So the use case for the question set code we have but then we have not created the question set category
In the Ed side.
Ed side
It's-
also, and in the Vidyadan only for Haryana we have that.
That's a primary category definition I
Yeah,
explained
yeah.
you guys. Okay,
That
primary
we have
category
created.
definitions. Okay,
So-
that's what primary category definitions.
And in the whenever a contributor is contributing the content, he still has the access to contribute only the content.
Content. Yeah, that's right. That's what I explained in primary category definition, if you remember. Schema and primary category
And
definitions are
one more
different.
thing, the forms, yesterday we saw that e-textbook wala explanation content, right? Under that whatever form sections we have, all those play the major use case in Vidyadan, where the meme type and all we can set at the schema level. But if we do the same thing on the Ed, that doesn't
Okay,
work.
the key thing, okay, Ed heavily using form service. Form service, most of the places where you need a dynamic capability. But coKreat, using it very minimal, but it's using object category definition. Object category definition, which is internally having lot of forms logic. That's all API driven. Everything here is API driven. This object category definition, nothing but a textbook is one of the object category definition. How the textbook should work here, all the forms related to that is within that object category definition. If you see that APIs, you will understand there are many forms here. Create form, search form, and review form, and everything will be there in the object category definition. But in the Ed side, you will not find that. You don't need that. Ed is mainly using form services at the time of creation of the books and everything, really. It's not using object category definitions. Okay, that's the difference. That's what she is highlighting that. Is that clear? Okay. Yeah. These are key things that you guys have to really see. This program ID, if you see the knowledge things, it won't be there at all. Okay. Program ID, program also, some more
Sample
properties
content also.
specific to the coKreat use cases here. Yeah. Go to the code, program service. Yeah, I have to.
So here we have actually listed down all the APIs program service providers. So program APIs, as I said, having endpoint as program v1. So we have create, update, publish, unlist, publish, then list download, and v1 read. The description actually says what the program, what the specific API does. Yeah. Then we have nomination APIs. For nominations, also CRUD operations and list operation. Then report API is actually like we said, report are generated through Druid and all those things. That overall flow is there. There is, yeah, and there is a tenant list API, which is actually whenever you go to main page, right? So doc.sunbird.org, you don't provide any sourcing or contribute link. There you see the tenants. So what are the states and how many projects are those are created under that project or under that states? Those you can see there. That is actually the tenant list API. Then the preference API. Preference API is nothing but the user preferences. What collections I want to contribute to. So those are actually preferences medium. So I can specify what medium I want to contribute to, what subject, and what class I want to contribute to. So and here you can see the So this is actually a public only, and you can see all the collections here, API responses and the what requests. Yeah. So
What is it pop-up?
yeah, that is it's actually similar to whatever services we have seen, and request response are also kind of similar only. Then I'll just jump into program service. I'll just show you how it's written. So program service is actually a microservice written in Node. To install it on local, just to remember, you please follow all the steps given here line by line. If anything you miss up, it won't.
Stick to the versions, please.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever is written here is all mandatory. Please go through it and then only try to install it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So as we said, as our documentation says, we have routes, right? So routes takes all the API catches all the APIs. So this actually does the work, this folder.
Don't.
Actually, this is Mac only. Yeah. So here.
One single hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just open one program. Yeah. Please.
Don't select. Okay. Right side. Okay. Just tell her.
So. The base URL for this is program v1. So all the requests coming to the program service having base URL as program v1 will land up in this route. So the app route says base URL create. So if you are hitting the program v1 create, it would go to program service dot create program API function that is actually written in service.
No, not the models.
No models. Yeah. Before that. So we said we have models, right? We are having data models and what are the tables and what are the columns we have. So all those things has to be listed here. If you are directly creating program, if you are changing the table and adding any column or removing any column, that won't work. You have to add or remove it from here also so that everything works. नहीं तो वो sequelization error देता है, which is actually from Progress SQL only.
Use the right side. Click by clicking. Use the right side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Program service. Program service. Okay. So when I said create program, right? So this is actually JS file. Whatever functions are written here are actually exported and then used in the route file, whatever we said. This is get program. So when get program is called, I'm so sorry. Control F. Sorry. Okay, so this program is actually exported. This function is actually exported, and this function is actually called in our route folder. That is it. That is what I wanted to tell you. And here, whatever if this API has to do read or create or as in CRUD operations to our Postgres SQL, that has been done from here only. And if it has to call any microservices, that is actually called from here. That is.
Assign create program. So once we create the program, so this is the function from the program services. As I showed you, this has been exported on the contribute side. On the coKreat program services on the client side, which has been cached in this, and this is where we are communicating with the DB.
Can you show the Postgres sample? What type of data?
As of now, it's the normal DB. I mean, DB is not there with us as of now, so we can't show you the DB.
Is there any documentation where?
See, the way you set up the program, no? So yeah, program service documentation, what she said told you now. So there's a separate documentation for coKreat installation, and within the microsite you have the program service installation. So if you go through the program service installation in one go, you can set up.
So when we are creating new book, so what are the data we are
Creating new?
Say when we are creating new book or any content.
New book has been created on itself.
See, don't confuse.
Program.
Content and program is different. Content is always go to knowledge. There's nothing to really do this. Program is having the program ID, program name, and all those things, right?
So program detail will go to Postgres.
Yes. Only program related information go to the Postgres.
Matlab, if I'll explain you, your program, no? What is related to program? Who is contributing? Who is nominating? What is the data? Data doesn't have to do with anything with that, no? So that is why we have separate Postgres.
Can you show from where in the code?
Which one? Mine? I just kept it for charging. Yeah, fine. Huh. There is
I mean, the
yours.
content service is normal. I mean,
I
if you
think
go
you
to the
kept
front
it,
end
right?
code, no? So the content service is a place.
I think Shubham said, I don't know, he saw somewhere some of the charges. That's what he did.
Services, you're consuming the knowledge services, no?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm asking. So where you are consuming those content services, are you there?
This one, yeah, you can take it. Yeah.
The code where basically.
So again, we'll divert from this to the coKreat. So that consumption.
When you open up a page in coKreat, let's say we did a media slash sourcing, created a project. That project definitely goes to be, or you created a program that definitely goes to the program service. Understanding. Now when you open up when you try to add
Contribute content. Contribute content.
yeah, then page that
Editor comes on the in the editor and all. You can go and create a new content or select the existing
that
contents.
editor is a separate UI component.
Yeah, UI component. Okay, that's what you just covered before this session. What is the collection editor?
I'm
Yeah.
just trying to link everything.
Yeah, what is the collection editor and how the content can be added from the editor? How can do
From that editor, the call
goes to the
content goes to
knowledge always. Co-create knowledge. Yes, always.
now the linking between the content that is created in knowledge and the program that you created in coKreat. Where does that happen?
I just showed you a program ID. Also in the knowledge also having a program ID mapped for every content, right? In the schema itself is updated. What is the program? What is the program ID? Knowledge schema itself.
Okay.
So in the knowledge schema itself, okay, you can see it with every node. Content is a one node. Okay, node attributes if you see, one of the attribute called program and program ID. Form configurations. Yeah. Can you just show the primary category definition of yeah. What happened? You want to? They're struggling. Come on. You can ask me. Okay, that's not there. You ask me.
What I need to.
Okay, yeah, I'll share it.
This Postman collection, do I need to share what?
Yeah.
Postman collection.
Primary category definitions of any one of the collection. Open the Postman collection. Show the primary category definition of the textbook.
Primary category.
Yeah.
This is where we create the
Primary category
this is where
definition,
we
we are
create
taking only the non-framework metadata. We are taking some
Non-framework.
non-framework metadata. Framework metadata comes in the system.
Some I don't like.
No. I mean, the coKreat has its own form for that.
Own
I can show them through URL.
forms for the content creation and all, right? That's what I was telling.
Nothing.
What is the question? What is the
Telling
Hmm.
we have the list of meta details, right? That comes from two forms. One is non-framework and
So the primary categories, are we clear about this? Like the categories which we have on the workspace, for which we'll be creating the TOCs. Now, how to create those primary categories? Today, we need to create the APIs, the Postman APIs. So this is where we'll create. So this is where we first will create the category. I mean, this is right. Now, after this category, we need to set up a form for that. Right, so that is the definition of that category. So this is how we'll be supposed to, like book is in category. So this is how we'll be creating the form, and this body will contain all the form level, all the
Open the form, show the forms.
show
Minimize other things and show the sourcing things and all minimize. There's a forms object, minimize it. Minimize the sourcing settings, minimize. Minimize entire meta sourcing settings, schema minimize. Yeah, forms down. Yeah, that's
forms.
what it is.
So this is this is where
Minimize
the form,
unit by unit. Minimize 126. 126. Minimize
Child
next
metadata,
create also.
create.
Minimize. And publish checklist minimize. Yeah. And this is a search review. Yeah. Go ahead now.
So
These are different forms that you have to explain. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead now. You explain forms now.
So these are the forms. Like when we come to this collection editor, there is like forms. We have child. We can append to it. We can append. We can add the other metadata. Like this is first we add the metadata, then we add another section to that. So these are the different forms of all the sections which we have in there. Like publish checklist. Like when we are publishing, what is the check? We have the checklist. These are the section board. These things. And
This we are talking about the forms which we see on the editor of coKreat.
Yes. Yes. That's right.
There are actually, so there is not only collection editor in coKreat. So coKreat has content
Yeah,
uploader, its
no,
own editor, right?
content,
Upload the content, to upload the content, and then to create the question set. So
Collection editor at the
that
time
was
of,
actually the previous
okay,
one.
not
Then
for the
question
textbook
set
point of
editor
view,
comes in
for other
place.
resources,
But yeah,
other primary
so
resources.
we are having
We
our
should in the
own
textbook
editors,
thing.
and that is why
Same
this
thing is as other primary categories.
category definitions comes into place there also. So when you say the create one, right?
that's right.
So
Okay, we don't
when
have
you
for
are creating the
textbook.
collection,
For
that
other
is why
primary
this
categories,
is actually
we
not
have
happening on
similar
coKreat as of now. But if it would be, then the create form, the whatever properties are here, whatever list, whatever fields are there would come in picture, and those were actually would be seen on our UI.
these are the fields for every form which we need to have.
Yeah.
So every form can be customized.
Okay, the same thing. These are same thing similar to form API. There you are using form API, and you are putting the data object. You are defining that create is a separate form, search is a separate form, and update is a separate form, publish is a separate form. In the editor use case, you are leveraging form API by defining different forms for each and every action. There is something called action in the form. For each and every action, you define one. In the edge side, in the coKreat side, everything is for the entire object category definition of type textbook or okay, textbook is not creation here more. Okay, if you think of the e-textbook, the content, when you are adding that content, when you are creating that content, what is the metadata of properties for that content? At the time of create, what are properties to be shown? At the time of publish of the content, what are properties to be shown? At the time of searching, what are properties to be shown? All those forms are the part of object category definition of e-textbook in the coKreat. Similarly, for each and every primary category, there is a different form. Most of this is a copy pasted in all the primary category definitions. If there are any different use cases for different primary category, update the forms. Okay, for all the primary categories, pretty much the same because creation of the content is still the same. What are properties you have to show for one content? It should be same for all the contents also, right? Okay, so that's how it will get duplicated here. Okay, so that's the difference of the forms, the way we are using the collection editor and edge side.
Yeah, so you are leveraging the category definition only to keep the forms.
Forms.
Not use the separate API.
Separate APIs.
That was told yesterday.
Yeah, that's the difference here. Is that clear? Each and every primary category having these forms. What are primary categories? If you have 10 primary categories, all 10 primary categories having a forms object within that. Okay, in the coKreat side. Okay. For the create, what is the form, metadata, what is the form, and again publish, what is the form, everything. That's what I just minimized it to showing what are different kind of forms that is available.
So if I want to update a form of any category definition in this, in coKreat, so I'll have to make the recall for that specific category definition, get the form section.
For that channel.
Yeah, for that channel specifically, yes, for that channel.
If you define that too.
Yeah.
If you define channel specific, then otherwise it's a default one. Right.
In production we have for
Always,
specifically for NCRT.
that's good. Okay, then you end up with a lot of maintenance. Okay.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
So we take that form and update, just keep the form in a patch request for content definition, primary category definition, and run the patch, modifying the data that we need for that form.
After the update, content service restart. You need to restart the service, content service.
The content service of
Vidyanan.
As because you are modifying the form here.
Like these schemas already loaded. If you're modifying any effort, you need to restart the service.
Clear? Clear?
That is pretty much.
So that is what we wanted to cover.
So, recap ki kya kya cover kiya.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah. You give it to her.
Okay. So, in Haryana tenant, with respect to project creation with question set, unlike the other contents, earlier we were not pushing the questions from creation repo to the consumption repo. Is it happening now?
is it happening now?
That's something we don't know. Okay, how in the Diksha case? Okay, now you guys have to tell the 6 jobs.
No,
This is
Diksha
adapter
case
specific
was-
thing, no? So, like if we left the that thing, so we are modifying other things. So, the functional things which is this is adapter specific. So we don't have we are not.
It is still there, no? Only for the question paper print.
It's still the same. There's no changes coming in. Okay.
So hopefully that will be resolved, right?
No, sir. They wanted to restrict. Samagra wanted not to be pushed the questions to consumption portal. They just want to print the question paper out of.
Again,
What is that case we need to do now? What is that case?
no, you guys don't need to do until Samagra guys is a program.
Samagra governance come up with the requirement.
Yeah.
So that's what we have.
It's not a Diksha use case. Samagra is driving that program initiatives. Samagra, one of the organization, okay, who is driving that?
Who is giving support to Haryana, right?
Yeah, Samagra governance.
So then what should be our reply to that, because it's pending from some time now. So
Haryana.
To Haryana,
Okay.
because they are directly talking to our CEO actually.
The issue what is, I think the learning outcome property.
Learning outcomes
we got,
center.
right?
Huh.
So I think, okay. Currently in Haryana tenant, we are not able to publish the project with a question set. You remember we had this issue.
Learning outcome
in
and
our-
learning
Huh.
outcome IDs. Yeah.
So I think
I think
now-
that is given a solution, no? We given a solution in the discussion forum. It's already been raised the discussion thread. That's we told how to solve that problem. Okay, that's the schemas need to update properly. We just explain the schemas and all. Yeah,
Yeah.
the schemas need to
I think
update
they
and then
up-
service need to restart.
they updated the schema of the question set, right? After that also,
No, we need to restart.
Restart the services.
Assessment service.
Assessment service and restart, no? Just by updating schema will not work. Okay, on the start of restart our service only, it reads all the schemas and then only your published paper works properly.
So then we need to restart the service now. It is pending on us. Correct?
yes, sir.
That's what.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's make it clear.
All these steps are given in the discussion thread.
Yeah.
Just
Yes, Vinay.
yeah. No, not a good, not.
So ठीक है, तो कौन इसको follow कर रहा था? आप follow कर रहे थे? Which one? Haryana वाला. So if we restart the service, then it will be correct. Yeah.
Restart the service of knowledge.
Step
in a coKreat.
उसको restart service कर देते हैं, देखा जाएगा.
We need to ask someone something.
Samar.
But the median P1 issue what we had. So sir, asking what is the update on that?
So, for that issue, the resolution is to add one of the keys in the schema, okay, in the, I think,
Question set schema.
Question set schema, coKreat ka question set schema.
Question set schema. And then, again, the same.
Just now-
Restart. the service.
Restart.
Yeah.
It's trying to restart. Right?
Ideally, it should work.
Yes. Okay. That's what we just discussed. All those things, how the schemas and everything will affect.
From quite some time now.
Yeah.
Actually, it would work because we have replicated the same issue on our end and then provide the
So,
solution.
you added the schema in
Question set.
question set for
VDN.
coKreat,
Yeah, coKreat.
for VDA.
VDN and
The assessment service.
assessment service. Yes, that's the key thing.
Okay, you did from your end, that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So this was pretty much from the coKreat side. anyone has any thing, so I'll walk you through what we have covered so far for today. So the first was the coKreat UI front end part. Second was the coKreat backend, and third was the program services for the coKreat. That is the Postgres DB, which we are specifically using for coKreat to store the program data. Any questions to anyone? Yes.
One question. So it is using different API manager or same API manager?
API manager.
That Diksha is using.
Okay.
Kong.
Again, see the instances different. Can you use the same API manager for both?
I think all the requests are going through Kong only.
Yeah.
It won't be coKreat.
coKreat having a different API manager altogether, right? It's a different infra altogether. Okay.
It has a different instance of Kong as well.
Huh.
So both
Okay.
are using different?
Yeah. Okay. Just DevOps guy is the right person. Okay. For me, API manager, of course, it has to go via API manager, the Kong. Okay. Because of the different infra. Okay. You have to maintain the different things. Okay. That's DevOps guy is the right person who can answer that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But according to you, would there be a challenge if you use one Kong? I mean, one API manager for this and that?
Because if you have knowledge, two instances, how the one single Kong knows where to redirect of that request. Request is still the same. How it knows, okay, which service of knowledge, this service or that service. Okay. From that angle, I'm saying ideally it should be different things. This is logically I'm saying, okay, I don't know. DevOps guy is the right person who can tell you that. Okay.
DevOps stack is on Monday, right?
Yeah. Because it's a separate instance altogether, obviously you have to maintain that Kong manager for that.
DevOps track is on Monday.
Yes.
Different day, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Gujarat. I'm not sure.
There is some different terms that we are confused. One is organization, TNet and channel.
Organization, tenant, and channel. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Who are the guys came from microservice thing here? Front end guys asking questions to microservice guys now. Okay, you guys answer. Learn team.
Channel and tenant, I would say channel we have a unique identifier, and tenant is kind of a slug which we use for tenant, for a Maharashtra tenant.
Huh. Organization?
And organization is this channels or tenant belong to this organization.
One organization. Answered? Answered?
This is what he said is true,
Yeah.
correct or not?
Yes.
Correct, right?
Correct.
Yes. See, when you create, okay, the way APIs works, okay.
Should I repeat? Yeah. So the channels are kind of in unique identifier which we have, and tenant is the slug value or the for each tenant like Maharashtra, MH, Andhra Pradesh, AP, and org ID is the channels and tenant belong to this org.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
if I create a hierarchy of this, so at the first level, organization would come, right? Then a channel would come, and then a tenant would come.
Yeah.
Right.
So tenant and channel is same. Okay, there's no tenant and channel separate. Okay. Slug is part of channel. Channel having a slug itself also, but it has a unique ID, channel ID. Okay. Under one organization, you can create multiple tenants actually to say, but we are not doing that because the use case is not there as such. There's only one organization. As soon as you create organizations, internally the API itself will create with the same name and everything. It will create a channel also. Okay, with a unique name. The API by default it creates. You need to do manually that thing. If you want to create one more channel for the same organization, you can go and create a new channel under that organization. There's no use case as such till now for Diksha. That's what. There's no use case as such. Okay, all these things concepts are there, but there are no use cases came into picture till now.
So basically, channel and tenant can be used interchangeably in Diksha context.
Yes. Yes.
But conceptually, they are different for Sunbird.
No, it's the same. The names we are calling them different names. Okay, so tenant, channel, and tenant, but both are same. There's no difference between tenant and channel.
If there is no difference, then why are we calling it a tenant and why are we calling it a channel? Why did we not?
See, it's a. If you see the APIs, in the API, are you seeing a tenant or are you seeing a channel? Channel. Why not tenant? That's how the names came. Tenant is nothing but like each state we are calling as a tenant. TN is a one tenant, okay, and Tamil Nadu is a one tenant we are calling it, but in the system level, the tenant is become as a channel. That's why the naming convention is coming differently.
NCRT has come out with that name, I think.
Yeah, somewhere, okay. The tenant terminology came at the state level when they are telling it. We are calling tenant, okay. Tenant logo, okay. Tenant all came into picture. But in the system level, it's always called as a channel. Okay. Is that clear? Organization things. Okay, guys. Okay, I am not the right person to the front end. Okay, but still, I can answer it. Okay, fine.
So I was talking about the hierarchy.
Yes.
So the confusion that I have is channel is created basically channel.
Huh? You want to draw the diagram? Okay, I will show you the diagram also. I have it already. Okay.
So an organization is the root of each channel, or channel is the root of organization?
Org is always a root. Org is always high level.
But with respect to Diksha, tenant.
I think front end guys already knows this thing. Okay, front end guys, we with the first day there's a video played. How many of you guys are having that attention? Front end first day there's a video played how the organization, under the organization how the channel coming. Okay, under how the users are mapping to a channel and all. You guys remember that video? Okay, so that's a hierarchy, org, and then the channel. For that channel, users are mapping. Okay, when the user go
CPSE.
correct.
Value what you are giving while creating a tenant.
Right.
Suppose NCRT I am giving. In the request payload, I pass it as an NCRT. If I want to keep it, that takes the alphanumeric value both.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you can summarize it. Just summarize it. Okay, I will share the email. Okay, I will share the email for this thing before training thing. Okay, they have to give the feedback.
No, I'll come for the full week. And for families, they are planning to come to all the church now. So, on the right,
Summarize it and then whatever things happened today. Not required. Why are you opening that? Not required. Slack open karo. Share that. What happened to projector? Projector is off. Projector is off. Okay. They removed it. Annotate. Okay.
Okay, guys. Sir. Just 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so guys, that was pretty much for the coKreat side. So we are getting the curtains down for coKreat. So we'll be sharing a scanner to share the feedback for today. So please do share. We'll come in sometime. The projector was off. So
Just कर दीजिए ना.
हाँ कर दिया. 1-2 minutes.
Have it turned on there in the back side.
Yeah. So any questions on coKreat front end, the back end for the front end, the program services? Nadia ma'am.
Any questions? You ask questions now. You ask questions. He's explicitly forcing you. You ask questions now. You ask.
Thank you guys. Sir, Vidyadan is an adapter. Vidyadan is an adapter. VDN is
No. Vidyadan is not a router. Vidyadan is not a. It's a program.
It's a program. coKreat is the building block, sir.
बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक
So Sunbird का building.
तो क्योंकि नहीं जो विद्यादान ये है उसमें कोKreat यूज किया है करेक्ट दैट्स व्हाट यू टेल राइट
Yes, sir.
बस फिर ठीक है क्योंकि हम ज़्यादा कंफ्यूज हमारा इतना टीम को भी कंफ्यूज नहीं करना चाहता जेनेवा में और थिंग विल बी
Yeah.
No. Your cap came now. Because I want.
We'll meet after this.
We'll meet after this.
Done.
Give me a feedback.